One of the questions I often get after caregivers learn about the different attachment styles is, how do I change my attachment style? And one of the things I always tell caregivers is usually it's through this process of making sense of our past. But what we're doing when we're making sense of our past is actually going back through and making sense of our worth, because it wasn't the events that happened so much, but it's how we determine our own worth based upon the events. And so it's really important when we look back at our childhood and we're making sense of everything that we're looking at all the events in that regard. Did this event make me feel unworthy? What was it about this event that contributed to my own version of self-worth? And so once we learn some of this information about attachment, there's a lot of different ways that we can make sense of our worth. At one end of this spectrum, you have this idea of, you know what, I'm learning this knowledge and I'm doing some self-reflection and I realize I don't feel worthy. And I might just say, you know what, I now know that, so I'm going to accept that I am worthy and just go ahead and change my behavior. So sometimes it's just a matter of hearing the information. If it's not, the next level might be, I'm going to do some self-discovery. I'm really going to spend some time journaling about my history, journaling about my experiences and how that might have contributed to my view of myself, and make sense of it in that way. Another level might be that we go out and we find an accountability partner. So this would be a really trustworthy individual, a friend, where you decide to do this work together. And it might be as simple as, you know what, my whole life, I didn't feel worthy. That's a problem. I would like to change that. Could you help me, or could we do this together? And how do you feel about your own worth? And so you have a group of people that are going to do it together. And another step might be that you seek professional help, that you're going to go in with a counselor and start working. And the first thing you need to say is, I don't feel worthy and I don't know why. Could you help me figure that out? And the counselor would help with that. So it's really important that if we recognize this piece about ourselves, that we go ahead and try to do what we can to know our own value and our own worth, because we all have it. Every individual on the planet wants to be seen, they want to be heard, and they want to be valued. And if we could do this for ourselves, we can pretty much guarantee that if we can do it for ourselves, that we get to do it for our children too. And that is the greatest gift.